Hey guys, Kelila the Messenger is here today. Today it was on my spirit just to talk to you guys a little bit about ways that parents are hurting their children. I'll give you 3 ways. It's not an intentional thing, but it's a thing and it's a fact that remains that we do have adults who have great intention on raising their children, on preparing their children for their futures. But there's just a couple little things that we've been missing as adults. So I'll jump right into it. So one of the first things is actually not communicating with your children. A lot of parents assume, even though we were children at some point, we assume that children are going to just know things. We assume that they're going to know it from, other kids at school, from other people, from television, from social media. Here's the thing, guys. You want to make sure, first and foremost, they are learning at home. Even though they go to school, like, home should be their first teacher. So don't assume that your 13-year-old knows about sexual education if honestly, if you haven't told them about it. And you can't really even depend on the school these days, because they may have given an education that is 100% different from your personal beliefs, basically. So not communicating with your children. If you don't teach your child how to start a bank account, how to manage money, all that stuff, the thing is, they're going to become adults and they're going to be behind because nobody taught them as children. Right? So it's like, if they don't know, they don't freaking know. So we don't want to cause our children to be behind. So we do want to for sure make sure that we're communicating with our children. We used to have, I know myself growing up, they used to say, hey, we're having a grown up conversation. You guys go outside and play. So here's the thing, if it is a grown-up conversation, if you guys are talking about business, if you guys are talking about love, if you are talking about the future and plans, then those are things that your children should honestly be a part of, so that they, again, have that understanding, so that they're not trying to figure it out when they become adults. If it's love or a thing about a relationship, honestly, kids are not crazy, right? So if there's discord in your relationships and certain things at home, and meanwhile you're just telling the children everything is fine, they're not crazy. So if anything, it's just going to kind of make them become like super confused about what's going on. And not to say that you have to tell your children everything, but figure out creative ways on how to not cause your children to become detached from their emotions and from logical feelings that they're having about things that they're witnessing, as opposed to things that you're saying to them as a parent. Next thing is going to be, don't be a hypocrite. We have parents who are hypocrites. Just say, for example, if you have a 12-year-old daughter, and I want to say daughter because there's double standards when it comes to the young man. So just say you have a 12-year-old daughter. She comes home, she's like, oh my God, Mom, like, I am so in love with, such and such and such and such at school. Now, granted, you may not necessarily agree with it as a parent, but at the same time, these are valid feelings that she's having. So, and guess what? They're valid feelings that you had when you were 12 or when you were 13, or even if it didn't come for you till you were 14, it's 2022 now. So things are, have escalated quite a bit, basically. So the same feelings that you had, that sort of thing, take that opportunity and use it to communicate to your child, hey, yes, you're going to have these certain feelings, and this is why you don't act on those certain feelings, if you're the dad, hey, I'm going to let you know, even though you may be 12 and you're thinking about marriage and love and children, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, this 12-year-old boy, baby girl, is thinking about video games and Kim Kardashian's body, and not your little 12-year-old body, just whatever. Use that opportunity to be real with yourself first and foremost, so then you can be real with your child. Another number 3, it's going to be embracing your children's creativity. Embracing your children's creativity. That's when when children are not worried about, just like the adults, trying to figure out how to pay a bill. Right? So there's space in their brain to be creative. When you say, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? What can I do? Not what I want you to be, not what I think you should be. But what do you want to be? What instruments do you want to play? What sports do you want to play? Or if you're not into sports, let me know what you are into, basically, so that if you nurture that thing, like, no matter what your limited thinking or brain may be, because what happened to you in your life, that kid can be the multimillionaire in the family if you were the parent that just made a conscious decision to nurture that seed that your child has, and not be the one to cause them to stop watering it, to cause them to stop believing and dreaming and hoping, and we understand that as parents, a lot of that for you may have kind of stopped or slowed down because you had these children, right? So we want to kind of live through our children with certain things, and it's like, listen, we're just the vessel. They have to have their own life, and believe it or not, their own thoughts, their own processes, and that sort of thing. So we're just the vessel. And we should do everything that we can to actually embrace their creativity and not project, even though you're the parent, not project our own personal beliefs and, and that sort of thing. Oh my goodness, I remember when I was young, I think I would get in trouble literally for just asking questions, like, hey, why this, why that? And I think that was the worst thing that a parent could do, because here's the thing, we have questions. If you can't answer it, then lead your kid to someone who can answer the question. Don't just shut them down, right? Because they're a whole human being and they're going to have a whole life, and it's our duty to get them there. It's our duty to make sure that they are able to be free thinkers, right? And to understand it's not a consequence for having a bad consequence for having a question or, or something of that nature. So, but so these are just little tidbits, guys, to just kind of help you and give you perspective on some little couple things we should be doing as adults in regards to our children. So make sure you guys like, click, share, and we'll see you next time.